Welcome Agostino. Ciao.
Buongiorno Luca, buongiorno a tutti. How are you today?
I'm really, 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 really good, and I'm extremely pleased to have you here. And it really it feels like the first time when I've been seeing you on a cover of a magazine, and I was like, I want to be exactly like him. And now I have you in front of me to try to tell me all your story, what has been your past that shape who you are today.
Yeah, you shouldn't read the Bar magazine when you are under 18, Luca.
I know, I know, I know. But you know Italy how it is, you know. We do
think
things.
ahead. We think ahead.
Let's see it like that. Well, I think what we can do just to start this podcast is really simple. As I said, who you are today is what you have been since you're born. So let's start to put in timeline who is Agostino Perrone, what's his story, and what actually made him to be so passionate about bartending.
The story how I come into bartending is a slow progress, no, of how I think how life should be. No, I was born and raised in Lake Como. My family originally from Puglia, so the mix of culture, ingredients, and habits is already in my blood. And thankfully, nowadays I remember how important was the time when every summer and every Christmas I was going to South Italy to see my grandparents because there is the family, the sense of family which is very strong as in most of part of Italy, but South Italy was most of the family, so it was like a big reunion. Even for a small occasion, was a big celebration. So it was this sense of generosity, this sense of taking time for simple things and taking time for the important things, which is the people. And sometimes you get bored because there are uncles, aunties around, and there is so much going on, but nothing is happening at the same time. You get nervous because you want to do things, but you got to be there. You need to be in the moment. You need to be with the family. But apart of the sense of the fulfillment of the heart to be with them, I realized now, recently, a few years ago, that all the sense of flavor, aroma, and why my palate is so detailed is not. Of course, I trained my palate when I started my career bartending, but most of the job was done when I was a child. When I was going in the field with my uncle, we had a farm. I was happy to harvest, tomato and watermelon. I was climbing on the fig tree and pick up the fresh fig in the end of summer. So all those aromas that are tattooed in my memories. I always say, smell is the is the shortcut to memories and sensation, you know, even before the sight, So now I understand how lucky I am because I did this very simple life when I was a kid. And in Lake Como, the life was good. Was we are surrounded by a fantastic mountain, the lake. It's all beautiful, but was rather boring because for me, because everybody knew each other, you know what's happening around the corner. And I always been a daydreamer. Always wanted to kind of escape, go out, discover the world. But you know, when you're a teenager, you start to imagine what the life can be. So you start to be scared because you don't know what's happening. You want to build for something that you don't know if it's happening. But at the same time, you need to leave the imagination, coming through. And my family background is everything apart hospitality. My mother, she was a teacher in elementary school. So somehow I had people at home, which were colleagues or sometimes my mother's students. So I always had this example of how to care for other people. She was cooking the cake and bringing it to school for the class. So she was very genuine, caring person. She's a very caring person.
Sorry, so only the microphone just a little bit here in front of.
You adjust it. You told me closer, so.
Sì, sì, perfetto. Solamente adesso. Perfetto.
Ok, va bene.
Che bello. Guarda, sei già passato alla quarta domanda senza neanche avertela fatta.
Una domanda così? Vai, tranquillo, devi usare. Guarda, che se tipo parli fuori dal microfono chi ti sente.
Ok, vai.
Ok?
Partire dalla parte di tua mamma che dice. È bellissimo.
So my mother, she was a teacher, elementary school. So she always had this sense of caring for her students and her colleagues. So time to time, I had other teacher back at home when they were preparing the classes for the next season. I also remember still the smell of the cake that she was cooking to bring in the class for the student. So it was a natural way to show that you care about people, people that are in your life, you know?
Yes.
Sometimes a 6, 7, 8 year old kid that you teach is part of your life, so you need to care about them. Every detail is important. And my father, he was an accountant, so he had the clients all over Lake Como, and they were coming home and they were sending presents at Christmas. So my background is in hospitality, but somehow this presence of other people at home or going to other people and having this relationship of interchange of moment and experiences, I always stuck with me. But-
It's impressive what you just said. It's really resonating with me because my mother is a teacher of elementary school and she been taking a lot of teachers home. We had this kind of exchange, and all the time when they were coming there was this sense of hospitality towards them. So I clearly understand when you say like welcoming people in your home.
And that's what it really, if you fast forward, is a message that say now when I go around and speak about my journey. Hospitality is a common sense. Is no more than a common sense, a good manners. You welcome, you open the door to people when you welcome them in your house. You look them in the eyes and you ask them, "How are you?" And you do the gesture, welcome in. What would you like? A glass of water, a glass of wine, a coffee. You offer a chair, and that's it. Maybe you don't put a leather coaster at home, but the rest is exactly the same. Is dedicating the time for them. Of course, now in the business, there is the surrounding, there is different details that you need to look after. But if you strip down, if you distill down, the essence of hospitality is giving your time to people and listen to them. I try to turn sometimes just a little sentence of to a friends or someone that they come to your home. You make your day from bad to good or from good to superb. The difference in your bar and the people pay for it. Absolutely. But the sense needs to be the same.
Nothing to say because when you said it's a common sense, it's reality. It's a real common sense. And you've been telling me about your experience, living in a family really welcoming. From that point onwards, how and when you have decided to be a bartender? Like when it was the specific moment you had this brainstorming. I want to travel the world. I'm not too sure about this. I'm not too sure about that. But then what happened?
What happened is that when I was going to school, I didn't like it. I'm not a role model student at all. I didn't like it, and I was a little bit rebel. Let's put it this way. And again, I wanted to go around. I wanted to discover. I always my bucket list always been to go to, I don't know, Patagonia, to New Zealand, to Africa, to new culture, to see new landscapes and to experience something completely different from Lake Como, from Betania reality. And somehow, I always was picking up travel magazine. National Geographic is one of those one. Just looking through the photo, you look at the documentary, you travel with your imagination, right? So I think this was a little bit this will ignite a little bit what is my passion for photography. that led me to find a way to build my life with this sense of wanting to discover. I didn't know what was they wanted to discover. It wasn't cocktail, it wasn't food.
So photography has been the first things that get you out.
The first passion, yeah.
Okay.
So to tell you an anecdote, I was sometime skipping school. I was skipping school, but also was telling to one of my teacher that I was about to skip school. He was also passionate of photography. So I was no, Agostino, I need to call home, tell your mom. I said, Prof, you do whatever you need to do, but I'm not coming today. So he was skipping school with me. And we were going around Lake Como to take photography and to talk about life. So I always had 2 or 3 point of reference of my teachers that they were giving me life lesson rather than school lesson. And with one of them I'm still in contact, Professore Zabatta, an hero. He's a Taoist, he's a Tai Chi teacher. So he was teaching us Asian philosophy, an Asian way to look at life rather than give us our time because we didn't study.
Interesting.
So it changed a little bit this, it clicked something else in there. And I finished the school eventually. And of course, you have your favorite bar where you go with friends, either in the morning when you skip school, or before going to school for breakfast, or in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, your first drinks out with friends. Must be all of us who have one place where we started, to go out with friends, to have the first Negroni, the first Martini, the first caffè shakerato. You start to encounter new experiences, which is not only the cocktail, but is as well who was around you, what was happening, what was the vibe. So I finished school, I asked Mario, the owner of Caffè Broletto, which is the place where I started my first ever work in bars, because I did something else before during summer and whilst I was going to school. So asking to let me do a summer experience there, because I wanted to pay my study of photography. I didn't want to ask money to my family. I was already decided to be a grown up, independent. So I say, what? I don't want money. I'm strong enough. I build my life myself. I'll show you what I can do. So I started to work in this bar, and I think what struck me that I'm very grateful for is not the fact that it was the best bar in Lake Como at the moment, where was the only bar you could find limes. So I talk about 25 years ago, limes was very rare in Italy. In Milan, maybe less rare, but Lake Como was very rare. And there I encountered different situations at the same time. From breakfast in the morning, speaking with the local shop business owner. There were people, I was 19, 20, they were 50, 60-year-old. So they experiencing life in a different way. And they were telling me about life lesson, about their secrets, about their travel in London and Tokyo and Brazil, I think. So, I wanted to go out there even more. I wanted to discover even more, experience myself. So they ignite even more this curiosity I had in me. And of course, I started to learn about spirits. The selection was very limited at the time. Maybe we had the first peach liqueur to make Sex on the Beach. And we were making cocktail, a classic cocktail. They were exotic at the time, such as caipirinha was exotic because we didn't lime, strawberry caipirinha. Anyway, you start to learn about spirits, you start to learn about cocktail, history of cocktail, and how to recreate them. It is already travel, no? It's studying and travel at the same time.
Throughout the ingredients.
Throughout the mixing this learning into an application of giving to people, because I still remember how excited I was when I first made my caffè shakerato. The first time I took a shaker in the hands was probably a caffè shakerato. it wasn't for a daiquiri or margarita or I don't know, it was caffè shakerato most likely. And maybe the first cocktail I never made, I think it could be a Negroni or Americano. And so even making the first cappuccino was an excitement because you learn how to make the froth properly, to be not too hot, not too cold. And giving your first cappuccino to the old lady that was coming to the same bar for years after years, and you please her, or she was so kind to give me a smile because she saw the excitement in my face. This was a really
fulfilling again.
fulfilling because you understand that your imagination, your creation, your learning, you apply those aspects with the passion, and you transmit this passion to someone else. And someone else sometimes maybe doesn't appreciate the taste of the cappuccino, the Negroni, because it's not the same as they're used to, but appreciate your willpower, your smile, your genuinity. I think the aspect of my first day at work, I still try to remember myself nowadays. Wipe out or whatever is your problem, your eagerness to surprise someone with something that you think is cool, but rather make something that's your confidence, no?
Absolutely.
Because you can deliver with more genuinity, with more natural manner, and you can allow the smile to come through. Because if you create something that is complicated, of course you must master it before delivering it. Otherwise, you are not confident into this process of presenting. And this is happening every time in a bar, in competition, and generally in life.
Absolutely. And you take me to a sentence that is like, sometimes does not matter what you serve, but is how you make people feel.
Yeah, exactly.
And as you said, from the cappuccino to the caffè shakerato to a possible cocktail, that's smiley worth all,
Yeah.
right?
One of my quote is, doesn't matter what you do, but how you do it. And it go along with put the right spirit in whatever you do, which is the spirit, of course, can be the distillates, the ingredient, but can be the spirits, which is your passion, not the spiritual aspect of what you do.
So now we walk through your personal life in Como. At this stage, you learn some drinks. You have a big passion for photography. You have a desire to travel the world. What happened there?
I did an experience in Arcore, close to your home, 2.5 years with Simone Maci, who is still one of my best friends and was one of my mentor. I did a couple of summer season in Sardinia where I met other people. It was exciting because it was breaking the routine. And let me tell you, in Italy at the time, as now, you work 6 days, probably 10, 12 hours a day. And I was doing 2-hour commuting on the way to work and 1 hour on the way back at night. Plus going to Milan to be assistant teacher in American Bartender School. And then go somewhere else in a similar shed like this one, but with the floor mats and workstation to train flair bartending. So I was committed into something. I was sometimes, you're committed, you let the passion
Take it over.
take it over. Yeah, you can do the map of where I want to be in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years, but you need to allow different approach to come into the game to reach some of the goal.
Is
Yeah.
that flexibility that you
Flexibility.
don't know exactly what?
Exactly.
You know the direction, you know it's north, but you don't know exactly where in north.
Exactly. Each of us are different. Sometimes you need to go far east and then far ovest, and then you go north. Some other go straight to the north. You must ask advice to other people, but if the people give you the good advice, they don't tell you what to do. They tell you how to shape your thinking, how to shape your vision, how to understand your surrounding. I know, me too. And a few years ago I wasn't so spiritual and open-minded to certain aspect of life. You grow up with it. That's why I learned patience is something that is very important in life, in career, in
But I
in
think what you
everything.
just described, it really remind me like, life is like a big luggage that you start to put certain things in this luggage. Doesn't matter if you go north, south, west. For sure, like you have a purpose. The fact that you've been moving and you've been trying to think like, I want to do this, I want to do that, keep yourself busy on your toes. I think it really made a massive progression, right?
Exactly.
And then one day you decide to go to London. What happened there?
Simone decided to go to London. I didn't want to because I was happy in Italy somehow, but I wanted to travel. I was in the moment that, let's call it comfort zone, because things were doing well. I didn't have the need to move away. And but the opportunity to come to London arrived. It's a bit long story, so we don't go in details.
We want details.
But look, I think that if meant to be, is happening. So I went to summer season in Sardinia. I met a few people, and we finished the summer season, and we receive an email in 3F, the American Bartender School in Milan, that it was this company in London opening a new bar restaurant, and they wanted 2 people to open the concept. I said, wow, it's kind of Simone and myself, 2 people. Say, what the odds? No,
Here we are.
yeah, we are. So we send the CV, and we did the first interview on the phone. There was no Zoom, nothing there at the time. And then we set an appointment to come to London the first time. To come to London was January 2003 to meet these people. It was freezing, was snowing, it was, London. I never been in London for, was everything huge, big, and taking public transport, train from the airport to go to central London, then the tube, something we don't do in Italy because we have a car. You don't need a jacket in winter because you live on the car and indoor, right? And the train station was Alessandro Grappelli, the gentleman who was running the show, and now has the places in London as well. Taverna Trastevere is one of those one. And then there was this other person, the chef, one of the chefs who I met. And he got a job in London, and he referred me to Alessandro. So he played very professionally. He didn't say, I would like to have Agostino here working with me. I said, I would like to have 2 people to run the concept. So we did the interview process professionally, normally. And then we moved to London 1 month after. It was the 8th of February 2003. Traumatic experience, because again, leaving the car at home and living in London with public transport, with freezing weather, it wasn't easy. And then we went through the stage of building the place, and eventually Simone went back to Italy. I was there by myself. I said, what I do? I don't know. I stay the summer. I go to English lesson. I do my experience, and then I'll go back to Italy. I know they're waiting for me anyway. In this time, I was pushing myself to try to open the place. We opened the place. My English was very broken. I was doing ordering on the phone, not on the computer, not on the app, nothing, on the phone in English. And the day after, I was receiving the delivery. There was everything about what I thought I ordered. So it was very frustrating because, I did
Things were not working out.
working out, and then that's it. I was asking suggestion there and there. And by the some point of reference that are still my friends now, so I was going to, like most of us, to lab every single day. Ed Remasso, was for me, was still a very important figure because he showed professionalism, he showed creativity, he showed extravagance. I was always, he always knew what to say. He always had the answer to the question. And I always wanted to work in lab, but never happened for some reason.
I feel proud to say that I did.
Yeah. So what's happened that I encountered another lesson right away. Once we opened the place, Cedar Lounge, there was this Italian gentleman. There was a marble merchant, where it was in construction. He told me, I say, Agostino, I was at this stage, I was very much into, creating cocktail, creating flavor, learning the classic from the IBA, so the very classic, but also American classic, and how to, put your own imagination into maybe twist them a little bit. I came to London, there was an encounter using fresh pures, fresh juices. Everything in Italy wasn't there. That was all.
We're talking about 2003, 2004, right?
2003. So it was very much, I was heads down into, set up the bar properly, into be technical into the way how I work, to make it look good, to do a little bit of flair, but not too much, just to be clean, to make it entertaining in order to please the eyes before the palate. And this guy told me one day, Agostino, here in London, drinks are very important, but you need to talk to people. They want to talk to you. They want to be entertained. They want to be hosted. So put as much care as you want into your bartending skills, whichever is your field. If you're a fresh bartender or classy bartender, it doesn't matter. Keep on doing that, but don't forget that you need to talk to people.
He opened up a world in front of you.
That's it. When I thought that before I could surprise with my cocktail, I could surprise with my technique, it just slapped in the face. He said, you need to talk to people.
Do you think this has been the biggest challenge that you had coming from Italian bartending to the UK bartending?
I think it was the biggest challenge personally, because all of us in the stage in our life, we go through into, what is, depends which school you did, where you worked, who teach you, but, there are aspects of be hospitable, there are aspects of making great drinks, an aspect of having general good knowledge. And of course, when you strive for something, especially when you have the satisfaction on learning new drinks, new technique, new ingredients, new flavor combination, you stuck to it, right? So the scale goes more towards the aspects, and you forget maybe the other bits. But now you need to realize when is the time to rebalance. I think you never have the perfect balance in everything in life. But you need to find this moment when you find harmony, in holistic harmony, which is being aware of what you're doing, being aware of where you need to keep pushing or keep improving or or put your energy because they are your strengths. Also, keep an eye on your weaknesses to work on it as well. So don't concentrate only on the weaknesses, otherwise you forget your strengths and you don't grow so fast. Is always this overall harmony, as I described, that you need to be aware, which is the skills of being bartending, the skills of being a host, or being a nice person in general.
So at this stage, you got one of the most valuable advice. Here, you need to talk to your guests. You need to make sure you entertain them.
Yeah, whichever is your style. If you're more flamboyant, or if you're more serious, if you're more philosophic, as much as yourself, you're not taking yourself. You need to take yourself seriously, but not be too serious. Put the right effort and dedication and commitment, but as well, you need to enjoy what you do. It means that when you are behind the bar, you are, maybe you are not with a smile, but you have the smile is in the eyes, right?
Sure. And at this stage, what happened to your career?
At this stage, happened that Remasso called me. I say, Ago, I'm looking for Latin people to open a Latin concept called Salvador and Amanda in Covent Garden.
It's still
It's still there, but sadly closed this year in April. So after 20 years.
Okay.
21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
Shame.
I know. It's a place where I was part of the team, Dremasso was part of the team, Stefano Francavilla, is
Ciao Stefano, salutiamo.
So it was a hub of those young bartender that we were working, some in lab, some somewhere else, but were with the fire. And for me, I still remember the day when Dremasso called me. He asked me to be part of his team. I was like, 2 meters from the ground. I was flying. I couldn't believe it because, one of the person that I most admired finally asked me to go work for him when I was knocking his door many times when he was a lab, but it was no chance. So it was a little bit the first lesson of, keep striving for your dream coming true. And, before or after will happen in one form or the other one.
And tell me something now you said about Dremasso. Obviously, from your words, I understand that has been a bit your mentor. Who are your mentor and how yourself mentoring your team?
I think mentoring is something that you need to don't overthinking. But it's about sharing your own life lesson with the people around you. Because you can mentor professionally, work-wise, but again, there is the risk that you might cloud some part of the personal aspect that they're always very important. So I think the mentoring for me is get the most out of people, but get the most out of their own strength and make them understand that they're growing as a person and professionally. And of course, you need to overcome challenges. Challenges that are there to make you grow. Simply like every day is like training, no? Like training. Every day you do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, but you don't want to overdo it. Otherwise you get an injury. So understanding your limits and know how to get over your limit step by step.
What is one of the best example in real world for you of mentoring?
For my own mentoring,
Yes.
like what I would tell someone or
Yes, it's more related yourself as a mentor. It's beautiful how you explain it. The way of you express your life stories that eventually will inspire. But practical, is there anything that has been happening recently that you want to tell us about that you've been mentoring someone?
of course, yeah. I always tell everybody to don't copy me. Take inspiration from maybe the attitude I put into what I do, which is dedication at work, dedication for the team members, dedication for the people around you, for your family, and always keep the track of all the rooms and the aspects which are part of your life. Work, what's happening at work, track that. Personal life, family, what's happening, what I need to do. Personal project, passion, call it spiritual aspect. It can be, sport, it can be photography, it can be whatever fulfill you. What need to do to keep this one alive? So always have a map of your activities and try to keep always the door open. Try to keep a balance between those one.
Super clear. More clear than this it couldn't be. And now you say this, and we are in 2024. In 2023, how Dremasso he was approaching you as a mentor?
2003?
Yes, when you start work in Salvador and Amanda.
But Dre was a very practical mentor. He was showing us how to do things, and we were following him. He was allowing us to do our things as well, and then was giving us suggestion how to. So I think that sometimes people stress too much on the mentoring because they want to be told. They want to be told. But mentoring just behaving professionally and nicely, and allow other people to watch you, take example from it. And nowadays we need to feed people all the time. Sometimes you need to feed yourself, you
need to go and look for it.
and then
That's you for you is the biggest difference in between then and now.
yeah, from someone you take a good example, from someone else you learn what to not do, because stay surrounded with the not so good people also is a lesson.
Absolutely.
We all been in stages in a career where you have a manager that is not a nice person or doesn't support you. There is place for people and people for places. Maybe it was the wrong time for you to be there, or maybe just there was a situation wasn't right. But for sure you learn something that you don't want to replicate.
It's still shaping you.
Exactly.
Now, we're going back to the place where you work with Dremasso, right? From there, what happened?
From there, Nidar Ramini called me. It was 2004 to join the Dusk Bar, which it was the first bar in the south of the river in London, in Battersea. And I moved there, and Giuseppe Santamaria was the bartender. Again, so for me, was working with Giuseppe was a dream, because he was really the first person that gave me his hands in order to be able to help me when I came to London. Professionally, personally, big admiration for Giuseppe. And so, the dream was keep evolving, and we were flying higher and higher, no? And Dusk was amazing. Shortly after, Giuseppe left London, so I was there again, me and with the people around me, of course. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's push it through. And we did that. We did a great job for 2 years. And then finally we opened we opened Montgomery Place in Notting Hill.
That's where I wanted to get to.
And Dusky was shame me a lot. It was a big bar, very busy, but we were committing to cocktail. Was the era where classic cocktail they were coming back, but also was a slightly modern interpretation coming to it, no? And there were those two main aspects: the classic, such as Milk and Honey, and the modern, such as Lab. We were in the middle way, to be the bridge between those two, and to be communicating with our guest in a way to you can be going for the fancy drink, but it's based on a classic, or you can go on a classic drink, but also you can try innovative. So was building this approach in communicating our concept. It was a success. It was tough because the bar was busy as hell, was big, but we're committed. And at the time was Mother Cocktail, Motherless Shake, I think I did my back and my shoulder during those 2 years. But we had a lot of fun, and we were passionate, and my profile started to raise when I was in Dusk as Italian bartender. And we opened Montgomery Place in 2006.
Who? When you say we open Montgomery Place,
Nidal and myself. Nidal as a founder, and me as a bartender. And shortly after we opened, Stefano joined us for a little while, and then he moved on into something else. And in the first year, in November, so a few months after we opened, Marian Baker joined the team. And I think that Marian wrote this, as Marian is today, his mindset to keep creating and discovering new things, he was there already back 18 years ago. Yeah. So with Marian, we did a great job for 2 years, and we start to travel and find inspiration somewhere else, bring it back to Notting Hill. And Notting Hill was Montgomery Place, Lonsdale, Trailer Happiness, and shortly after Portobello Star. So it was this hub of 3-4 places in 2-3 blocks that it was fantastic. The vibe there was amazing. It was like a little village, and we were there for local community, but also was a hub of cocktail lovers. They were traveling from all over the world to come to London. And the time is when the first bar show in London started, is when Jar and Anastasia and Del De Groff and Gary Regan, they start to come to London to give us their experience into the American cocktail. And on this side, Nick Strangeway with Ray Masso and Harry Vesan, they were giving the British essence into the history of cocktail. So I think 2006 is when the real golden age of the cocktail really exploded. We were discovering classic cocktail, forgotten classic. We went in to find what was the original Italian aperitif and French aperitif to make all sorts of drinks that you only could find in certain cocktail books. And I think as shortly after was the boom of the Negroni.
I feel from your words that this is a kind of turning point of your career, and the understanding of the overall cocktails.
It was a turning point of the cocktail scene.
At this stage, you were 3 years already in London, so you were really settled down.
Not settled down at all. In London, you're not settled down. After 7 years you're in London, you say, okay, I start to be a Londoner. By the time it's so fast, there are so many things happening that you don't know what you want. At the time, I started to travel the world. I was going everywhere to promote Italian products, to talk about Italian hospitality, Italian cocktails. So I still was dreaming to either go to Mexico with Gabi or my wife.
Wait. So at this point, love was already there.
Oh, it was already there.
Okay. You didn't mention. So
From year one.
Okay.
From Salvador Amanda.
Oh, fantastic. So there was a supportive person, Gabi, in this case.
We were dreaming together. We were traveling together.
Fantastic.
So we were in between, we stay in London, or we go to Mexico, we go to Italy, or where is next? That's again, is the dream is always there, no? And you strive to improve yourself to fulfill a dream. But then maybe the direction change for whatever reason.
As we've been saying.
But the important thing is that you keep striving to improve yourself, no? To make a better life for yourself and the people around you. Which is not only a monetary aspect, it's not only get a better job to get more money, but it's really to do something that fulfill you.
How this vision, it can be a better vision, not just for me in this age.
Exactly. If you don't find something that fulfill you in London, I got some problem.
I'm pretty sure that with Montgomery, you had a lot of pressure. As you said, the cocktail scene boom in 2006 is where the things start to become really international. You start to travel. Like, how did you start, and how you still do it now, because you're traveling quite a lot, of course. Like, how do you manage this in a family environment with Gabi, that obviously she's your wife now? Like, how was back then and now?
Well, of course, then was a different experience because was few years ago, so we were more energetic, we were traveling and discovering new things. Then your personal need change, your couple need change. You need to recognize that, no? I'm very lucky because Gabi, she's super supportive. She understands how much I love my job. And, sometimes you need to travel more than other time. But ultimately, is the moment that you're together, they're the important one, no? You if you sacrifice your passion, your real purpose in life, but then if you spend time together is no good time. There's something to remember. The room I was saying before, work, private life, and passion. You need to look at it.
You need to reconsider a little bit the formula that you apply on daily basis. And we are in Montgomery, but there is a question that it really comes from for me, the inside is you are a person that you give me the sense that you have a lot of value. What are the most important value for you professionally, but also in personal life?
I think they go very side to side, no? I have a respect of the people around you, and doesn't matter who they are, how they behave, try to understand them. And someone maybe doesn't behave as you would, but it doesn't mean they doesn't respect you. At some other time, you need to put boundaries into them, but people in your life, they are toxic, or you feel there is something that they don't fuel your own dream, your own who you are,
Or who you are, exactly. And this one you see it more professionally or personal?
both. For me, what I learned on myself, and what I try to share, especially with the people that work with me, is that every day you grow. If you grow personally, you go professionally. If you go professionally, you go personally as well. And this one I really learned when we opened the Connaught Bar in 2008.
But let's not talk about the Connaught yet,
More always long to go.
because it's beautiful to know Montgomery. Let's get back to the Montgomery at this stage, and tell me a little bit how it's been to work with Marian. You were the head bartender, he was a bartender, and together you were sharing so much knowledge that you acquired from discovering and around the world from your travel, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was this genuine. I mean, also back at the time was different because when you travel, you brought something new, and most likely many people didn't try before, or nobody saw it before on either the social media or videos or something. So the word was more, uh, virgin in the sense. When now there is a cross pollination with everything, that even if you drink a cocktail with Asian ingredient in Latin America, is not surprising. It's given for granted that is there. So at the time, I think there was more excitement, because even small things could be something completely new that excite your palate, or at least you had it from you encountered for the first time when you went to that place in a remote country. You didn't know about this vessel, this cocktail, this ingredient, or this habit before, because you didn't see it. You heard about it maybe, but you didn't know.
The way how you talk,
So you experience with your own experience.
the way how you talk, you feel like you've been like in the really early stages where you could actually really travel and discover new things to bring into
Of course.
the hospitality industry, in our beautiful industry.
Yeah, when I went the first time to Mexico in 2005, I think, or six, we came back with 20 bottles of different tequila. We came back with with different kind of dry chili from the market and ingredients. And now you find them most of the shop in London. You can order them online easily. So there is no excitement anymore into go there and smell it. It's like, wow, never taste it, or smell like something that I know. I think that um, that for me was a fantastic time. But everywhere we went, it was something new.
so how was the creative process there? How was with Marian, with the team, with your guest? There was a structure that you had in place.
Well, the structure, you need to have a structure where you always experiment new things, but then you apply them into the what you do in daily life. When this new serve, this new ingredient, this new combination is ready. As I said before, it's like you know, keep pushing the boundaries, but knowing what to do. It's like if you're a football player in training, you do all the. If you're a flair bartender in training, you do 3, 4 bottle, you do amazing things. But then if you are in a normal work environment with no needs of do a little bit of showtime, you got to be fast and elegant, efficient, but still keeping that the kind of style that recognize you. And the same is in creativity. Keep pushing the boundaries, develop things. Let those new experiments to develop. Don't just think the box when you think it's done. But then when you think they're ready for your own style, they match your style. The style of your bar as well needs to match your style of your bar, and your guests they might recognize it that they're part of the bar experience. We can propose it. That's why we always say Montgomery Place and then it develop into the Connaught is an evolution. Don't wipe out completely day to night and create a new menu which it doesn't resonate with the environment, unless the place doesn't work at all and you need to do something drastic too. But in this sense of evolution and allow you to always discover new thing, experiment new thing in terms of ingredients, technique, service, tricks, technology. Also always allow you to always go deeper and deeper into the essence of hospitality, to the what are the basic, the foundation.
Okay, seems to be. I dream of everything you said, and I have a question from the black shirt and the yellow braces of the Montgomery Place to the Connaught. Tell me a little bit
Nightmare.
how this happened. Tell me the story behind. We want to know what it was, this switch. What happened there?
No, Santino, dear friend, he took the position as a bar manager of the new opening of the Connaught. Santino is a people. He's a people guy. He knows how to look after people. He knows how to please people. He knows how to make them feel comfortable, professional, and fun at the same time. And the Connaught wanted to open this bar that could give a push of modernity into the classy hotel environment. So he asked me to join the team, to bring on my creativity through most of the things that I was doing in the Montgomery Place, bring it to the Connaught Hotel, which is one of the most classic hotels in the world. And I closed the door in his face right away. I said, no, Santino, it's not for me. I said, man, look at me. Yellow braces, piercing, beard. I said, it's not for me. But also, I was not confident with the hotel environment because I could hear complaint from many other, especially Italian bartender, that they couldn't be creative, that there was too many layers of approval before do things. I didn't want to be like them. I didn't want to be a complainer. I wanted to be a doer. I didn't want to make money to buy the latest watch or the latest signature tie or dress. I wanted to be happy. So the hotel is not for me. And that's it. And Santino keep pushing, keep trying. And eventually, I start to feel something that when he told me something that resonates, he said, I go, look, you have the cocktail skills that I don't have, but the people skills that you need to improve. Or we can combine those together. So we start to understand about strengths and weaknesses, right? You evaluate yourself, but also you don't need to fulfill all your less strong skills by yourself. You are a team. And that's when I understood the importance of team members. Because from Montgomery Place, 5 people, 4 people to 16 people was quite different. So eventually I decided to join, and that's how the adventure started. So we had 1 month to create the menu, which led to make the Connaught Martini and the Bloody Mary, which are still in the menu after 16 years. So with the butler room, half of this room, there was no sink. No, it was 1 sink. That's it. We put a fridge to store the ingredients, and me, Eric Lawrence, were meeting every day to try to imagine how to take a classic cocktail to make it relevant to modern time, but also don't forget that the spotlight wasn't on us, but was on the guest. So on the guest journey, the guest experience. And with our vintage book was the only source of knowledge. Maybe Google was just starting and Facebook was at the beginning, was the first iPhone, just came out. So we were right in the beginning of the big revolution of exploring the world from the comfort of your seats. But we didn't want to that, no? So we put really our own knowledge, our own journey into it. And we learned quickly a few other lessons there. Like, for example, we were tasting our cocktail with the hotel manager, Thomas. And he's a guy who was a huge lover for hospitality and gastronomy, especially restaurant, but he didn't know much about bar. Because especially in the places where he was going at the time, Star Michelin restaurant, the best hotel, there was no good cocktail program. Very basic, right? So we were going to the room with the cocktail that we made. We use a new technique, we use a new combination of flavor, we presented the cocktail with the storytelling, the inspiration, da 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 da. And then I was looking at the thing, he was tasting it, and was telling Iago, would you pay? At the time was £16, not the entry level, which was already expensive for the time. Would you pay £16 for this cocktail? I was, wow. You're right. It's not about me. It's not about why I created and why Eric came in with the idea to do such and such. It's about how it is perceived when the guests have been in the hands and look at it as smelling, tasting, even without explaining the process of the cocktail. It was a big lesson. Thankfully, I learned it from the very beginning. So from the day, we always try. Still nowadays, it's the first lesson that we teach to our team when they first join the bar. Is about the guest journey. Is about having a cocktail that talk by itself, and you are there to understand how you need to give contribution to the moment. Because not everybody comes for the cocktail. Many people come because it's the bar at Connaught, but they still don't know about the Connaught Bar. Many people they come because the design is beautiful. So you need to be able to cater to approach all different kind of guests in different moments. Not everybody wants to listen your story or your invention. Maybe they just want to have a suggestion where to go for dinner. And then once they feel at ease and comfortable, the curiosity, the imagination come through. And they smell the cocktail, they taste it, and then they become curious. And then they ask you why such and such.
It actually makes me think at all time, what you just said, that is like you're talking about the tailor-made experience that you're building around. It's not just what you like, but it's about how it's perceived, as you mentioned, how it's felt it. But then also you need to have that personal touch that you understand that not everybody want to hear your story about your drink. Maybe they have an important meeting, but when they drink it, they feel, oh wow, that is a booming drink, right?
Exactly. They feel elevated without knowing why. Maybe they work out and they come back another time, and then they start to ask questions about the drink. I think is important for us as many of the aspects that we look after when we create a cocktail is the journey, no? Is again how you create it, how you deliver it. But it's even the menu, the sense of having ingredients that somehow they're recognizable. So the eyes that are driven to the cocktail with some other exotic ingredient that maybe is not so common. So they create this sense of curiosity on the palate. And you create flavor that maybe they're similar to flavor that for you, no, but for me, yes, they remind me something that I have it here on the top of my tongue, but I cannot describe it, so you go back to it.
Impressive.
It's multi-sensorial experience, but you don't need to overdo it. Actually, you always need to strip out to make it simpler and simpler and simpler.
You need to fit in the space.
Exactly.
And now we spent an hour together. You start to tell me about your vision when you were in Como, photographer with a massive dream of travel the world. Thanks to bartending, you start to travel, and then you've been develop your skills as a photographer. We know our days that you're pushing yourself out there, creating really like a really strong community of cocktail bartender around yourself, working in incredible places in London, travel the world all the time. To this day, you are an author as well of a book, correct?
Indeed.
So please tell us everything about.
The Connaught Bar book is not just a cocktail book. Actually, it's recipes and iconic creations. Iconic creation stands for the moment that we created. Creation is not just the cocktail, it's creating the place. It's creating a place, it's creating a culture, creating a vision. No? The culture and vision that buenos dias.
Ciao! È arrivato Giorgione! Siamo presto.
Che te, Giorgio?
Ti siedi a livello tranquillo con un caffè?
Is the culture and
Riprendiamo questo dal
Sì.
libro? Dai, tanto faccio questo e poi dopo chiudiamo con un'altra domanda e abbiamo finito.
tranquilla.
Ok? Sì, facciamo così. Riprendo dalla parte fotografo, bartender e poi autore. Ah,
Sei uscito ieri sera, Balgia?
oh, guarda, allora, vieni qua 2 minuti, facciamo la distrazione, ce l'abbiamo. Allora,
Dove siete andati?
Dal Setez. Un day che si non becca, siamo talmente da.
vivi in Ist adesso? Setan è bello lontano.
Però dal Setez non è becca.
E la seta c'era Benvegna, Dolci, che erano belli in forma.
Si era.
Da guerra? Da battaglia?
Tornado, volando forte.
Ci siamo, dai. Le ultime 2 domande ci siamo. So, what you've been telling us for the last 60 minutes has been all your career since the beginning. You've been a bartender in Italy, a photographer, a driven photographer, wanted to travel the world. Then you came to London. You create, your stamp, your trademark for cocktails, classic twist. Yeah. And to this day, you are an author as well. Would you like to tell us a bit about?
Yeah, thank you for picking up on. Remember what I said before? You always pursue for your passion, and then maybe you need to change the way a little bit, and then it might come back. For me, photography still is my strongest passion, and I put it aside for a while. But now, thanks to the commitment I put into my job, they allow me to travel and to see new places and to meet new people and to experience new culture. I realized that the dream that I had as a young teenager is really came true. And on top of everything, I do a lot of photography now, which it fulfills me as well. So I kind of, feel very pleased to having sacrificed a lot of my personal life when I left Italy or when I was in Italy to really push myself to be better every day and to grow as a person and to grow as a professional, because without sacrifice you don't go nowhere. You don't go nowhere. And then again, for someone it takes to curve, someone else is a straight line, someone else is up and down.
You never know.
It is what it is. You need to keep monitoring what's happening around you. But this one allow us to to be who we are now and to build what is the Connaught Bar nowadays, which is a bar with a sense of place, but not only for the guest, but for us that we work in there, which make us feel ready to share all those values, all those stories in a book. So the Connaught Bar book is not only a cocktail book, is recipe iconic creation. Iconic creation is the bar itself. Is the moment that we created for our guest. Is how we blend as a team. Is the culture that we established in there and became now. Come you say? Come si dice quando diventa? It became now contagious. This culture became now contagious because when we have a new starter, all the rest of the team embrace them with this culture. So right away, they understand who we are, how we think, how we operate, that we are a family, we support each other, but also we need to push each other. And this is something that goes beyond the structure of creating a new cocktail and hospitality. It's something that you build up only day by day when you have the right people and the right moment around you. That's why on the front page is my name. There is Giorgio and Maura. Now, I opened the bar in 2008. Giorgio and Maura, they joined 5 years after. And Maura recently left, but Giorgio is still solid with his roots and his imagination side to side with me to lead the team. And this book really represents a journey of 16 years into cocktails. So what was the style of cocktail before? You can see the creative process there, the ingredients we were used, but also you see the evolution, how it developed to nowadays. However, you will notice always something which is a very straight line of coherence with the style of cocktail, with the style of how they looks, how they read. And this is the coherence that is something that we always teach and preach when we talks around the world. When you create a new menu, a new concept, or just a simple new guest experience.
Impressive.
And I think this was more a collection of recipes, a collection of emotions, because we had to go through the archive of old cocktails, and some of them we forgot about it. But then when you pick it up, you remember, wow, we used this ingredient that it was exotic at the time, but it's still relevant to now. It's still exotic now if we would use it as well. And also we remember who was in the team at the time. And we remember so the personality of the people, the moment that we had with those people. So I think it was a fantastic, it was 3-year journey on writing the manuscript, collecting the material, recreate the recipe as they were done before, and then doing the shooting, do the copyright, and do all the adjustment.
I can feel it's been a really exciting journey.
Oh yes, oh yes.
How long did it take? We are really curious about.
3 years.
Okay,
By the time we signed the contract, it was 3 years.
fantastic. Well, we are coming to one of the last questions. I thought that, when we talk through the life of our guest, it will be really interesting and valuable. If you will have a chance to leave us like an advice, something for the younger generation that is really resonating with you, that you think it could be really valuable for someone that is starting right now the career.
Well, never forget where you come from. Be grateful for what you have. And know that it is the base for tomorrow.
Well, what can I say? Thank you very much, Agostino. I really appreciate everything you said. Thank you very much.
I'll give you the last lesson, which is the quote that is more close to me. Straight up with style, and don't forget the smile. So it means it's not in cocktail like our Martini Fontaine Pour, that is up and with style and we do with a smile, but it's an attitude that we have at work, an attitude that we suggest to have in life. Be always proud of where you are, what you do, and face everything with a smile. If you smile to life, life will smile back to you.
There is not a better quote to close this podcast. So thank you very much, for real.
Grazie Luca.
Grazie.
It was a pleasure.